Here I got a Ford Focus. I'm not sure what year it is. It's probably like a 2016. You can see the check engine light is on, and I could feel the car shaking. We have a cylinder 1 misfire. Now, I talked to the owner over the phone about 2 days ago. He wanted me to change the spark plugs, and I told him it's highly unlikely there's something wrong with the spark plugs because I just changed them like less than 2 months ago. Alright, I told him most likely, there's plenty of other things it could be, but most likely it's going to be a bad ignition coil. So I went to AutoZone and they put the scanner on it, and they sold him a ignition coil and a spark plug. And honestly, if you're gonna throw parts at your car without testing anything, one spark plug and one ignition coil, it's not the worst thing you could do. So anyway, let's go ahead and see what's wrong with this thing. I'm suspecting a bad coil. Let's see if this thing has a clear flood mode so we can listen to the engine crank. Alright, it sounds good. I don't hear anything weird. I love the 4-cylinder, super easy to work on. Okay, so go ahead and check number 4. You can see I put my magic wand on number 4 right there. You can see, sorry for the glare. You can see we are getting a signal off of 4. Let's go over to 3. And again, we have a signal. Let's go into 2 now. And again, we have a signal. Let's go over to number 1 where our misfire is. And we have absolutely nothing. Okay, so let's go back to 2. And there goes number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and just swap the coils around. See what happens. Alright, so that's it, guys. Nothing crazy here. Check number 1 now. And we now have a signal. Let's go over to number 2. And absolutely nothing. We just have a bad ignition coil here. Really simple, really easy. So let's go ahead and pop in this AutoZone part, and it should be all set. Alright, so I got the new coil installed. I swapped them back around. Whenever I replace bad ignition coils, I like to put the new coil on the cylinder that was actually bad. Just so there's no confusion in the future with someone else who looks at it. You know, if the owner says, yeah, I had a cylinder 1 misfire, but now there's a new coil sitting on cylinder number 2, it kind of confuses people sometimes. So I like to put the new coil where we had the misfire. And go ahead, start up the engine and check everything. It should be all better. We'll go ahead and clear the codes. Alright, so I can already tell that the engine is running better. We'll start at number 4. See, there was a signal. Number 3, number 2, and number 1. Wow, that one has actually a way different waveform from the 3 original ones. Look at like the amplitude of 2, 3, and 4. And let's go back to number 1, which is the Duralast one. Look at that. Yeah, I don't know, but it's working. So I'm gonna go ahead, clear the check engine light, and this one's all set. Alright, so that's it. Clear check engine light. The car's running nice and smooth now. No more misfires. I called the owner, and she was very shocked because she had just dropped this car off. She was like, the car hasn't even been there 15 minutes. She goes, I could have just stood there and waited. I'm like, yeah, you know, but you never know. I don't like people just sitting here and watching me work. So anyway, she's on her way back, and labor cost is going to be very low for her. So another thing she was very happy about, because it's such a fast and easy repair. So that's it for this one. I'm in a 2014 Chevy Impala, and it's here because we have no heat, no blower motor action, or nothing. Okay, you can probably see the windows are all fogged up. Now the problem with this car is, I looked at this car a few months ago when it was actually still really hot outside. I remember it being summer, and you know, I told him what's wrong with the car, what it needs, and he just didn't want to put the money into the car. Just didn't think it was worth it, I guess. But now that we're into winter, it's February 19th, so we've been into winter for a good amount of time now, and it's definitely been cold over here. And you can see how the windows are all fogged up because you got no blower motor. So anyway, the harness going to the resistor is melted on the male side, and then the resistor itself, the female side, is also melted, so all of that needs to get replaced. And at that point, it's getting a brand new blower motor also. So it's what I told the owner to go out and get. So this is going to be the resistor, the blower motor, and here goes the harness. Alright, so once I get in there, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I found when I looked at this thing a while ago. And it's kind of crazy that he waited this long to get it fixed. Like the few times he's come over here, he comes over here bundled up like you wouldn't believe. I even seen him in here with a blanket on. It's like, come on now. I mean, you just got to get to a point where I don't care how much it costs, fix it. Like, I'm tired of suffering, but I guess some people don't think like I do, right? If something pushes me far enough, I'm gonna pay whatever to get it fixed. But let's go ahead and get this taken care of and get this guy's heat working finally. Just to show you guys right now, so the blower motor is on. I mean, it should be on, but we have absolutely nothing out of it. Okay, so none of this matters. All right, so this is the connector that goes into the blower motor, which is still fine. This is a connector that goes into the resistor. You can see how it's all melted, and pretty much the same thing for this end. It's hard to get the camera up there, but inside of there the plastic is also melted. So here was our new harness and our new resistor, and I already checked them. They do plug in just fine. So I'm just gonna have to go ahead and splice in these wires to get everything working. All right, so here's the resistor that came off of the car. If you look inside of here, you can see how those pins all around them are melted. So that's why this piece is getting replaced. Also got the new blower motor out of the box, and I just want to confirm that the harness does plug in and it looks like everything matches up, so we are good to go. All right, so I'm just about done and right in time because it's starting to get dark out here. So I got the new resistor in, you can see it back there. Got the new blower motor in, and the new harness is crimped and heat shrinked all together. All the connections are nice and tight, and you got to make sure to heat up all of the connections until that ooze comes out of them to seal them up properly. So let's go ahead and I don't know what this wire is for, I don't know where it goes, but let's plug everything up, make sure it works, and once I can confirm that, I'll go ahead and wrap all these wires to make everything look nice. I got the car running. Let's go ahead, turn on the blower motor, and there it goes. Nice strong air blowing out the vents. So he had all the vents closed because he probably had like the air from outside coming in, so when you keep the vents open it makes it even colder while you're driving. This center vent doesn't want to open for some reason. Oh, there it goes. So we are not done here. I noticed that, okay, everything's blowing, it's working as it should, but the car's up to temperature and it's blowing absolutely cold air out these vents. Then I remembered his car also had an issue that the blender actuators were just clicking away like crazy. It's just another one of those things that I told him these need to get replaced, and people are cheap. They don't want to invest the money into their car. It's just so freaking frustrating. So we had to get this part, okay? Blender actuator, AutoZone. It's a Duralast part, and I open up the I can't even think, I'm so freezing out here. I'm so frozen. So I open up the glove box, and here goes a old blender actuator just sitting right there. So I drop this down, and of course the blender actuator that should be right here is missing. All right, but for shits and giggles, just to confirm that I'm right, I'm gonna go ahead and manually turn this blender and see if we get heat. Okay, I heard the chains, and there we go. I could feel heat now coming out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and pop this blender actuator on right here, and he has another one. There's another blender actuator somewhere over here that just clicks away. You guys could hear it. Watch. There it goes. So what happened was this one was bad. It was clicking, and instead of fixing it, they just completely removed it so it doesn't make the noise, right? Until the other one goes wrong. Now you got another one making noise. Unfortunately, he's gonna have to stay with that noise because this one is more important and it has to go over here. Alright, so the problem I'm facing now is because the owner removed the old actuator. Where's the screws for it? Can't find the screws. Another freaking problem. Another thing I don't want to deal with in this cold. I'm freezing out here, and to deal with stupid things like this. And I know it's the owner because look what you see in the cup holder. You see those two tiny little sockets? those are the exact sockets that you would use to remove something like this. Okay, so let's go look through my pile, and I found these little screws. I don't know if they're gonna work, but we're gonna give them a shot. It's frustrating, you know, when customers mess with their own cars and they don't know what the heck they're doing. So let's see if I could get this on there and get it to work. Alright, so I got that blend door actuator on this side. It's all bolted down, and we now have control for it. So right now it's blowing hot air. If I switch it to cold, notice there's no noise from the blend door actuator, no knocking, and it should start switching to cold air any second now. Okay, there it goes. It's kind of slow, but it did get there. So that's cold. Let's go back to hot, and there goes the heat. Okay, the one that's clicking is on the driver's side, and it moves just enough to get heat out of it. So yeah, on the driver's side he is getting heat, but it's got that annoying clicking sound. If he wants it fixed 100%, he's gonna have to bring me one more blend door actuator, but that's not for today. It's for a different day. The point is, today everything works. He finally has heat in his car. He's gonna be one happy person after this. So let me go ahead and put all this stuff back here together. Like I said, clean up the wires, make everything look good, and it'll be all set. So I'm all done. I just got the car running right there so that it's nice and warm by the time the owner comes to pick it up. I know some of you guys are probably saying, this guy bitches way too much, you know, he's always complaining in his videos. The thing is, when you're dealing with customers that try to do their own stuff, they touch things that make things worse for you, make your job more difficult. Or when you're just dealing with customers that are cheap, don't want to pay, whatever. If you watch any of my videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about, the type of stuff that I have to go through. I think I'm allowed to bitch a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so that's it for this one. Everything is all put together. You may have noticed that the windows are no longer fogged up because it's nice and toasty inside of here. So I'm sure the owner is going to be really happy with this. Will he bring it back to get the other blend door actuator fixed? I don't know. He may end up just leaving it like that. It's not my call. I'm glad to finally be done with this one because it's freezing out here and I could go in the house. I'm here doing brakes on a Jeep Liberty. The rear brakes were grinding. And yesterday when I talked to the owner, I told her get a set of rotors, and when you get the brake pads, make sure you get decent brake pads that come with the hardware kit inside the box. If not, buy it separate. She said okay. And so I take the caliper bracket off, and the hardware is completely trashed. Here goes one of the pieces that came off. Look how worn out it is. It just chewed a hole right through it. So this thing was effectively doing nothing. All right, it needs a hardware kit. I open up the brake pads, and this is what's in here. Just cheapo pads, no hardware kit. So frustrating. So it looks like I'm making a trip to AutoZone right now to go get this hardware kit. All right, so I'm back from AutoZone. Put the new parts on it already. You can see we got new hardware on both sides, and we actually got new boots also. So all of the pins have been removed, cleaned, re-greased, everything moves freely. Go ahead and start putting this side back together. Now I'm on the rear left side of the Jeep. Here goes the brake pad that was causing all the noise. Here's the back side of the rotor. Alright, so, and the front pad on the caliper bracket right here is like completely locked in place. Going to need a hammer to get that out of there. Alright, so I'm all done with this side as well, and this Jeep is all set. Take it out for a test drive and ship it. Take it out for a test drive. There is a check engine light that she wants me to look at, and she has a Bank 1 catalyst efficiency code. And if we look at our Bank 1, sensor 1 and sensor 2, okay, so I can see why this code is being flagged. It appears that the O2 sensor downstream is working. So yeah, it looks like the catalytic converter is just worn out and it's gonna have to get replaced. I have here for brakes is a 14 Buick LaCrosse, and this one I actually ordered all the parts myself, so I know I have everything I need. And the car is just cleaner, newer, and it should go much easier than that Jeep piece of crap. You guys are gonna get a kick out of this. I got the wrong parts. Even though I ordered the parts myself, I still got the wrong parts. But in my, okay, settle down, in my defense, when I was looking up parts for this car, they had two different options. You know, they had like a first gen or second gen. They were saying something like, or first revision, second revision. And without measuring the brake pads, like with digital calipers or something, and know what I'm really looking for, I wouldn't know. So I took a chance. You know, what's the worst that could happen? I had a 50-50 chance of being right? Anyway, I got the wrong brake pads, so I had to run to AutoZone. And what I did is I just took one of the brake pads that came off of the car, took it with me to make sure I'm getting the correct ones. So the ones I ordered, the pads were much larger. So this car actually takes the smaller brake pads up front. So I don't know if it's revision 1 or revision 2, I can't remember honestly. But we got the right parts now, so let's go ahead and put them on. I'm back with this Chevy Malibu. It's the one that I put the timing components on, that the engine sounded like it had wrenches inside of it. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and move the car right now. It's back again, but not for the same issue. The owner's been very happy with how it runs. She said it starts up great and runs just absolutely fantastic. See, it starts right up. Engine sounds nice and smooth, so she's been really happy with it. But the new issue that it's here for is we're in the middle of winter, so of course you want your windshield to stay clean, and she said her windshield fluid isn't working. So let's go ahead and push the button and see what happens. And you can see alright, so on the left side over here, that nozzle is clearly broken. I could see it clear as day, so it needs a new nozzle. Over here, it doesn't look like it's spraying out the nozzle. It looks like it's coming from underneath the hood. So let's see what's going on. So I removed this part. It goes right here, pops off pretty easy, not too big of a deal. And once you pull this back, we can actually see what's going on inside of here. So this piece actually snapped off of here, and the remaining plastic is still inside of this piece right here. So both of these nozzles need to be replaced, and it'll fix this issue the owner's having. Pretty simple stuff here. So I'm gonna go ahead, put this back on, and we're gonna try to get some new windshield nozzles for this and install them. It should be all set after that. A few days later, back with the Malibu, got these parts. I actually ordered 2 sets because these things are just so cheap, and just cheap in general, that sometimes they break when you try to install them. So as you can see, the old one, I got it out right here, just came on here with my pliers, and I tried to squeeze the backside of it where the little tabs are that hold it in place, and it just shattered in pieces. Just goes to show how old and brittle it is and why it broke in the first place. So yeah, bought 2 sets. One is for a backup. If all 4 of these break while trying to install them, well shit. To get the broken piece out of here, just simply squeeze right here on the rubber with some pliers, and the piece inside of there is just going to shatter into little pieces. But before you go plugging it in, I just went inside and sprayed the windshield fluid to kind of, I don't know what to call it, purge out or blow out any of the debris that might be inside of there, so it doesn't get clogged in the new nozzle. And now we could just simply go ahead and plug this back in, and I'm going to need both of my hands for this, but you get the idea. I've already disconnected the one on the driver's side, and as soon as I touched it, it snapped off. So that's the reason why I have to replace my sets. But here goes the 2 tabs I was talking about. So I'm gonna go ahead, you see them right there. I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze on them. Let's see if this one just disintegrates like the other side did. Look at that. It falls and just turns into nothing. That's how brittle and old the plastic gets. So I've already, like I said on the other side, I squeezed this part already. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spray the windshield fluid to clean it out and flush it. Then we could install the new one and it'll be all set. I'm all done with them. Let's see if they work. Hopefully they have a good spray pattern. But the problem is they're just like cheap aftermarket parts. So, I mean, they may not spray like the original ones did. Actually, I'm fairly certain they won't. But let's see what happens. Look at that mess. See that? That is not ideal. What's going on? Okay, so now it's spraying. It's like they're alternating. So now the driver's side has, you know, fanning action, whereas the passenger side just like a stream. That sucks. I mean, at least it works. Before she had nothing at all, but it's not ideal, you know what I mean? That's, yeah, I'd be disappointed. Well, it is what it is. And the funny thing is, okay, so these are pretty cheap, right? These like cheap aftermarket ones. She called the dealer, and the dealer wants about $100. So they want about $50 for each nozzle. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? What the hell? What kind of horse shit is that? You know what I mean? I've seen people that drive Cadillacs and they've gone to the dealer to get these and they're like, oh yeah, it was like $30 for the set or something like that. $100, Chevy? Are you kidding me? So I figure since we have another set here, let's just go ahead and pop in another one. Let's see if it makes a difference. Alright, so attempt number 2. I've already installed the second new one. See how it sprays. Okay, and now we have a fanning action on this one. Unfortunately, it's spraying like really high. It's like way up here. Yeah, the fluid is like landing like in this corner, not so much where the wipers are. And this is why when I do these, if I'm able to, we buy more than one set because they're so inconsistent. You know what I mean? It's just, it's stupid. It's a stupid issue to have. Another thing is I go to pull it into the garage and this thing has a freaking flat. But look at these tires. Look how dry rotted they are. And the owner's like, can you put air in it for me? I'm like, yeah, I can, but it's not going to fix your issue. You have to get the leak fixed. I'm sure she's just going to go to the local tire shop and get a plug put in it, but it's not my problem. Alright, so that's it. Air in the tire. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and put that last nozzle on the Malibu, see if it sprays any better. Only because I know how you people are on the e-web. Someone in the comment section is going to be like, well, you had 4. Why didn't you try the last one? Alright, so hopefully this one works. It's the last one we have. Oh crap. Look at that. It's just shooting like a puddle, like a constant stream right there. Come on, damn you, work. So the driver's side is still kind of fanning out. I don't know which one is better. I mean, do you prefer to have just like a puddle being dumped right there where it belongs, or have a fanning action but it sprays like way up here? I think I'm just gonna leave this one because I mean you need that fluid to land where the wipers are so it could actually do its job. If most of the fluid is landing in this corner, it doesn't even get to the wipers. It's kind of useless. So thank you, what would have been a random person in the comment section who would have, oh, why didn't you put the last one on? I guess technically this one is better, but not by much. That's pretty shitty odds. I'm glad I ordered 2 sets instead of just 1, but still it's kind of shitty. So that's it for this one. She can have her car back. If she complains about this, well, go to the dealer and pay $100 for 2 windshield nozzles. The owner of this Trailblazer tried doing a upper ball joint himself, and as you can see, he could not get the job done. He rented a ball joint press from AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And yeah, he couldn't finish the job. So all of this happened last night, and he was extremely frustrated because he had to call off of work today because he did not feel safe leaving a ball joint like that. And a funny story, today he looked at me dead in the face and he told me, John, no homo, but I was up all night thinking about you. He said if there's someone who could get it done, I know it's John could get it done. And this guy actually called me at 3 a.m. like 3 times. Who calls somebody at 3 a.m.? My woman almost kicked my ass for my phone ringing that early in the morning. But we got it done. As you can see, I'm getting ready to start pressing it in here. It was going in a little bit crooked, but we got it fixed.
When I get home.
Yeah, I hear you. So if you find this...
Take it off and clip it on there? If I find the clip?
It's up to you. I mean, it's pressed in there pretty tight. I would definitely put the clip back on it. It's supposed to have a retainer clip on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just when you put everything back together, just make sure everything is nice and tight. You know what I mean? Don't leave anything loose. Make sure everything's nice and tight how it should be. And yeah, I mean, if you can't get this clip on, just bring it back to me and I'll do it, okay? But you got to find it first. So go home and...
Or can I go buy one?
It might be difficult to find just that little retainer clip. Yeah, you might be able to find it. Who knows? But I would go home and try to look for yours first. You know what I mean? But
what
yeah,
about the old one? I remember flipping that off.
The old one should fit right on there as well.
Okay.
So you wanna, it just needs a retainer clip. You know, it doesn't matter if it's the old one or a new one. It just needs something on it.